my daughter. I had, 2 days.
You decided it was time.
Well, yeah, I let them cut me my hair.
Oh, you-
Because when the 7 and 9-year-old shears, it's when they end up being short.
Okay.
Angus, we know business. We know that.
Yeah. Felt something flat.
He was typing away at his computer.
No, we're on.
He seemed to-
Yeah, I gave you the spot, so you post for the. TV.
Yeah, I know.
Like
Thank
that.
you.
Yes.
Everybody here?
Okay. Rolling.
I guess I'm calling the meeting to order. So, meeting's in order. Introduction of the board members. This is the zoning board. We've got 2 cases in front of us. I'd like to introduce the members of the board who actually just haven't introduced themselves, or starting with
I'm Susan Brown, and I will recuse myself from the hearing.
the first here.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it.
Brian Beckman,
Madeline Johnson,
Michael Dean,
Celia Fiero.
Whitney is our secretary, and Rob is our esteemed planning and zoning and development administrator, manager, whatever the right term is, right?
Administrator.
Mike is sitting up here for this meeting as an alternate. I'm glad he's here as an alternate. Thank you very much, because at the next meeting, he'll be a member of the board. I assume with, nobody
Oh,
running
yes.
against him. Or you. The meeting tonight has 2 hearings. And then we're going to do those first and put off any of our business till after the 2 public hearings. Ground rules of public hearings are one is that each one of the applicants will give a presentation on what they're looking for, either variance or an exception. After they give their presentation, we'll exchange in question and answer with them. The public is invited to make comments during or after this period of time. After we've gone through the public presentations, we will go into executive session where only the board members will participate. Now, I do have to, so that's pretty much the way it's going to get, the process goes as we move forward. I do have an administrative question for Rob. Whereas Susan has recused herself from this first hearing, should we elevate Mike to participate? So therefore, I'd like to, Mike is being elevated to be a member of the board for the first hearing. Okay, thank you. So we do have a full 5-member board to hear the first hearing. So, any questions? Now that we've said all that, let's start with the public hearings. And Rob, could you read the first case for us?
I sure can. So the first case tonight on the docket is land use case Z22-03-01. Where Mark and Deborah Nyland are seeking variance relief from infield zoning ordinance to construct a single-family home within prescribed setbacks to Depot Street, neighboring properties, and the Mascoma River. Subject parcel is 0.2 acres and is located at 9 Depot Street, tax map 34, lot 44, and is within the community business or CD zoning district. It is owned by Mark and Deborah Nyland.
Is Mark Nyland here?
Yes,
Mark, please.
Have a seat right here.
We're looking for variances associated with the setback and proximity to the Mascoma River.
So I bought the land on Depot Street, and there was a house there, and it was taken down because it was in such sad shape. And then there was also a 1,000-gallon gasoline tank in there, and I they took that out and then had it all tested. And I'm just proposing to build a 32 by 42 story house there. And the setbacks, all the house is gonna be, I'm proposing to center it a little bit better than it was, because it was only like 4 feet away from the property line originally on the west side. And I'm not infringing any more on this house that I'm gonna be building, infringing any on the setbacks, so. And I've got the wetland permit in, and any day now I should get something back from them. So I've got that all filled out. That's pretty much it.
Thank you for that. Just to expand on it, I've been in your position where you don't do this very often, so it's giving a presentation. It's not-
No, I'm not
It's
good
the
at
thing in
it.
the world, so please, that's not gonna be held against you.
Okay,
We're here to try and help you, okay?
okay,
So basically, what you've taken is an old building.
Yep.
That was torn down because it was condemned.
Mhm.
And you're proposing to build a new structure that is more, as you said, more centered, further away from the setbacks, but still within, there's not much you can do about the 50-foot setback from this river, because the lot is be half empty if you did that, or 2/3 empty if you did that. So you're trying to build something that is more conforming, but is not conforming.
Mhm.
So you're here to ask us for the variance.
I'm here to ask for the variance, yes, on,
Members of the board, questions, comments?
I do.
Mhm.
I looked at the, the lot,
Mhm.
and on the other side, from the other side, I was looking what was there. And if there's a wall there, now you're gonna go over that wall or cut any of those?
no, I'm not touching anything, any of the bank or anything
Okay,
over there. It's already all cleared off. I mean, there's not a tree. There might be one lilac on the property, but everything, I'm gonna clean it up a little bit because this
I went
trailer
over
that,
the bank with the,
no, I'm not
over
gonna,
that
I'm not, no, the house isn't going anywhere near it.
And you're not going anywhere near with any of your landscaping or any of your
Nope.
building?
No, I won't be any closer than what the previous house was.
So I could do the math, but it looks as if the surface, the footprint's the same area on here,
It's moved over a little bit, and
right, but the same square feet.
a little bit smaller.
It's a little bit small.
Yep.
And so this deck, so you said it's a 2-story house.
Mhm.
So is the deck, so that's on the first floor,
The
on
deck-
whatever the
The
ground.
deck, yes.
Yes. So how far off the ground is that? Is that just like
2 feet,
okay,
something like 2 to 3 feet.
okay.
I have a question. I walked this earlier
Mhm.
just because it's easier to figure out what's going on.
Sure.
There's that tree that was previously against the house. So interestingly, I'm just like that, the house was previously there.
Mhm.
So I did not realize, so that is actually 4 feet off the property line, which means this lot actually, the house that would be, if you're looking north on the corner, that would be to your west. So that house must be actually on their property line.
It is about 3 feet.
Is that it? Okay.
It's,
So that stone, I just said, so that stone, there's like some stones there, so that's the line?
well, it's on the town
Yes.
map. It's
Okay.
just 3 feet
That's good. Yeah.
from the line to the house.
So you're saying right along
Well, I'm
here?
just, yeah, it's just one of the things previously you noticed, because I walked down the street.
Yeah.
The snow from the roof would fall down from the house that was there down into that. And it seemed like some of the erosion was due to just how things were draining. And this seems to be somewhat of an improvement.
Mhm. Well, it will be because it's over 15 feet from the property line. But the right side's still staying within the setbacks of the town. It's-
This is a hard one with our, but I think the fact that it's, it is your right to put something back on the same footprint, but you really don't want to in this case.
Correct, yes. I want to center it a little bit and give it a little bit more room between the two houses. And get it away from the road a little bit. And still not infringing on the back line between the house and the river. I think it's actually a couple feet away from the river more.
Well, certainly that, like, the body of the house is back, the deck is closer, or just about as close.
Right, right.
Mark, when was the old house torn down?
January 4th,
So just a couple
This
months
year?
ago.
this year, yes.
It was condemned if I ever.
I believe it was, yes, yeah.
Looking at the Google Maps. Just trying to understand where it is.
Any other questions while Mike's looking on Google Maps?
I can, if you'd like, I could bring up the tax maps. I'd like to see
I
those.
looked at the tax map, Mike's, I think, looking for the Google map to get an idea of the geography, so.
Yeah.
I looked at it earlier. so.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I mean, I've driven by there and stuff, but I didn't look at the tax map.
Let's do that.
Yeah, in the current Google Maps photo, the satellite photo, you can see pretty clearly what the property lines are.
Where the
You can
old, yeah,
See the old house. Visualize.
In there, just give it a second. to page out the slot.
It's really slow, I'll tell you that, I'm doing it like an hour.
That's what the house looked like. that was taken
Susan, while
down.
he's doing that, do you have a comment or question?
Oh, I have a lot to say. I live there.
Have you put in the
When I
satellite?
bought my
Later
house
on.
in 2009, that house was empty. And Brian, that tree was holding up the foundation. And I think everybody knows, but the building that was torn down was originally the old firehouse. And there was an oil tank there, and I was there when they took it out, and it was a few 5-gallon pails of oil. But it's gone.
So sure.
I don't want to see a house there. It's a lovely neighborhood. And we're, we're good neighbors. And the Eastmans on one side and Johnson's on the other, we're hoping, first, the Eastmans hoped that they could buy it and they would tear down their house and they would combine the lots and put up one house, and that would have been quite nice. And then the price was so high that neither the Johnsons nor the Eastmans could buy it even together. And that would have been another solution, good solution. They could have split it, they could have merged it to their properties, it would have increased their values, and it would have maintained the neighborhood. You say you don't have your shoreland permit yet. Why are you so sure you're going to get it?
Well, I was talking to the lady. I'm not positive I'm getting it. I'm just waiting to hear from them.
Well, I wonder what you're going to do about that retaining wall that's falling down.
I'll probably fix it a little bit.
Just a little bit?
Well,
Well, when I bought my property in 2009, and I had to have my west line surveyed because the pin was gone. It was washed out by a flood. There's a lot of water going down there, and there are a lot of big chunks of ice backing up behind that bridge right now. I think it's a matter of great concern. I think that lot is too small for a house. It's 2/10 of an acre. And I always thought the old firehouse should be torn down, and I pushed to get it done, because the next thing that was gonna happen is it's gonna collapse on Eastman's house. At least you're moving away from their
the
house.
Eastmans are the neighbors to the, in lot 43.
Yes.
Okay.
They're the neighbors in lot 43. And the retaining wall, can you see the line between 44 and 43? There's some great big concrete blocks up there. Brian was over there, we were over there.
That's what you were talking
yesterday.
about?
Yes, it's actually on the corner. The thing is, the retaining,
Right where, yeah,
it
where
doesn't
you got
run-
your cursor.
it doesn't run the whole length. It's just that one corner there. I wanted to take a look, because they dug out and filled it in.
it looks like one of the blocks has already fallen into the river.
Well,
Yeah, it has.
I'm not really sure if it has fallen. However, not being a civil engineer, I am not someone who can make a judgment if it's good or not.
Mhm.
But I can say they did a nice job cleaning up the lot. I mean, you know, because when they had the backfitters.
Mhm.
But, you know, so I'm of the mindset, if you believe you can build there. right, so my house in Tokyo was the footprint was 842 square feet. I calculated it.
Yeah.
And that was fine there.
Mhm. Yeah.
Things are tight. Here we're used to more sprawl. So, I mean, I understand Susan's concerns there, but ultimately, you know, it is your house. And if, you know, so you put something back in the same footprint, which is undesirable.
Right, right.
We couldn't put it back in the same footprint.
Yeah, you should.
Sure.
He's
legally entitled
to do that. It doesn't mean you should, it says you can. There's a lot of things.
No, but I just,
Get up there, Rob, please, a picture.
what, I don't know how to quite ask this correctly. What price range is this house gonna be? I know what you paid for the lot.
Right, probably around 350,000.
Okay. I had to do a lot of work to bring mine up to that.
It's amazing what 2 years can do.
Yeah.
Well, 1 year in this case.
Yeah.
Mark, mine's-
I have a question.
Hey, what's the, right under that, oops, that white dot, right, what's that?
I think it used to be a car.
Oh, okay, it's just
It was like, there was
stuff, it's not a shed or whatever.
No, there's nothing there now.
No,
Okay.
There's nothing there, just bare ground.
Yeah,
Okay, we have a question on Zoom, Rob, if
You
you
see
could,
that, there's a little cement platform that'll park 2 cars there.
We're about to take the question.
Yeah, there's a
Hi,
little
can you hear me?
platform left, that's all that's there.
we can, 1 moment, please.
Yeah, let's go. Let Susan finish.
Utilities that are marked on his map, that's a storm drain from Depot Street. It drains into the river.
Yep. mhm.
Okay.
Put that on there, so.
Do we have a question?
Question from the, on Zoom, please identify yourself.
Hi, yeah, sorry, the chat wasn't working initially when, so I could see that you were chatting me trying to get my name, but it wasn't working, so I had to call in. This is Jesse Keen Johnson at 11 Depot Street, so I'm to the right of 9 Depot Street. I just wanted to know where you're putting your parking.
there's gonna be a 1-car garage under the house. And
Oh,
There's-
okay.
there's also where the existing parking was, is going to be a 2-car parking lot there.
Could you tell us where that is?
Okay.
Right where we're
Yeah.
doing that, right in that area.
Oh, and Mark, not to do with anything else that's being said, Jessie hopes you'll keep the lilac bush. She really likes that lilac bush.
Jesse, you want the lilac bush, huh?
Yes, I do.
How much would you like to pay for it?
Pay for it. I don't think it's, well,
It's okay.
but
Sorry.
it is, I do think it was like the original property line, like back in the day. I don't know, but there's another tree there too. But it's like, I think it's just on 9 side, to be honest.
It's staying.
He's gonna keep it.
Yay.
So it was a really.
Okay.
There too. I don't know.
Yeah, so my biggest concern was just the parking because it's right outside of my bedroom, and I've experienced someone with a loud truck parking right there. Not Joe, the old owner, but like other people, and it just, it was extremely loud. So I was just curious on where you're gonna have it and if you're gonna put a fence up at all or anything like that. But those were just my only questions.
Okay.
And just 1 second. Susan, you had your comments, you made your comments, right?
So far,
All of them?
I'm about to close the public session, that's why I'm asking you.
well, Mr. Archer hasn't had anything to say yet. That's John Archer up there and Susan Abel. And they're across the street in the Dutch Colonial.
Hi, we don't have questions except we are also a little concerned about noise, but I realize there will be noise of construction. But I didn't understand where the driveway would be. I'm sorry, I don't remember where the old driveway was.
Right front of the property, on the right side, almost near the
Oh,
property line on the right
Near the
side.
property line. Will that be a problem for Jessie? She's worried it could be under her driveway, under her window, rather.
Well, it's where the other one, the older one was. It's the same place.
Well, the old one was just like a little cement slab. I don't know that I'd call it a driveway. But yeah. Is there rules about where it can be to the property line? Because the property line's like, I don't know, 7 feet from my bedroom window.
What he's doing is putting it right now where it shows on this little drawing here, not on the big one. Right where the existing slab is, so it's already there.
Yes.
That's what you're saying, okay.
So it's.
Is that where a car is currently parked right
Yes.
now?
Yeah, the next door neighbors are using that right now.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right about the same position, same location.
I just have a question.
So where they're parked now, because that's not actually the original like parking
The
slab.
snow's on the ground.
That's
I don't
like
know.
the,
It's where the other one was. That's what I'm planning on doing.
Just a comment about the noise and the traffic. Because they have a large family and lots of kids and they're all local, there's a lot of parking in the no parking lot next to the ambulance. Late at night and all night, so forth and so on. So that is, I don't see it as a problem because I take out my hearing aids.
It's-
There are a lot of cars.
Susan, you know
parked
that's
there,
not-
And they stay there overnight.
That's not relevant to
A lot
us.
of people turn around there, so there is traffic and Jesse has a problem.
We can't turn down a variance because of these.
Now, I understand that, but it's
Perhaps
a
you could let us
comment
proceed.
that I want Mr. Nyland
I have
to
one
hear.
more. Yeah, I have one more. I have one more question. So wait, you said the garage is on the first floor,
To the house, under,
but you said the deck is only about 2 feet above the ground. So is it dug under, like I'm
straight in.
Back of
straight,
the house.
it's low enough, it's on a slope
The
enough?
way the house is designed now, I don't know how he's gonna design, because we don't get into the design. Is it-
Yeah,
The garage is in the front with a little bit of a house over here and the walkway on the side. And then I'm sure the garage doesn't go all the way back. I just don't.
It's
Yeah.
a 16 by 20 garage.
I was just trying to understand the levels here because this is here and it's on the garage is on the ground floor.
Mhm.
Okay,
Living space above the garage.
living space is above the garage, okay.
Yes,
Isn't
Got
there a
it.
35
I didn't know
foot
that.
height limit for the
Yeah,
whole
it's like, wait.
thing?
yes, this is
Okay.
well under,
Anything
Under
else?
35 feet.
yes.
Any other questions from the, I'm gonna close the public hearing. I'm sorry, any questions from the Zoom? Hearing none?
No.
Gonna close the public session and go into executive session. And what I'd like to do is to frame the discussion around using the criteria. Why didn't I bring a sheet of the criteria? Just trying to get to the first page. Thanks. Appreciate that. One of the things we do is by going through the criteria, we review each one of the criteria and talk about it. And we do a finding of facts associated with each one of the criteria as we're going down, so. So basically, first criteria is the variance will not be contrary to the public interest.
I believe that is,
I don't see why it's contrary to the public interest.
I agree.
I agree.
The spirit of the ordinance is observed.
Seems to me it is.
I have a particular comment about that. This improves the situation.
Plus, he could build on the old,
Footprint, yeah.
That's what I mean.
he has the right to do that, so it's not just put the house. it's just-
Yeah, it seems like it's better for the,
More-
improvement for the neighbors as well.
Less non-conforming.
Yes.
Get that one down. Substantial justice is done. I think it is, it's basically that the lot is there, it's in a central business district, the house is consistent with the neighborhood. So it doesn't change the characteristic of the neighborhood, it does improve it somewhat. So it's consistent with that. Any other comments on that area? The
Agree.
value of the surrounding properties are not diminished. I think that's obvious, that's.
Yeah,
it's replacing
If
it.
anything, it's certainly better than having a derelict building there, so.
Literal enforcement of provisions of the ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship. And if he can get the shoreline permit, which he's got to get first of all, so any approval we would do would be contingent upon him getting necessary permits along that line. Everybody comfortable with this one too?
Yeah.
So I did not write a motion. Rob, did you get a chance to write one for me?
I'm sorry, I did.
Okay, I will take care of that. You ready with me? I ran out of time trying to get ready for this. Sorry about that. I move that we approve the variance for Mark Endeavor Nyland in land use case Z 22-1 to construct a single family home within the set, I'm sorry, to build a single family home in accordance with the map and positioning of the house as presented to the zoning board, including setback variance and distance from the Mascoma River, pending receipt of approval from DES, is that the right term? From DES.
New Hampshire, yes.
Yeah, New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services. I think that's still their name.
The shoreline permit isn't Department of Environmental Services.
Yes, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
Wasn't when I got.
It's changed, they changed the name. Okay, need a second on that motion, so.
I'll second that.
Favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have your variance. Rob will type this up and get it for you and get it to you so that you can have this, but you need to get your permit first.
Okay.
And then your building permit after.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
See you. Yep, thanks a lot.
Okay, the second case,
They don't want to divert today.
I know it's gonna,
Yeah,
there's gonna be continuations. I'm glad Mike's here because I'm not.
maybe. I read something that might change that.
Okay, well then let's get it opened, okay?
In the
Let me open it first.
Oh, sure.
Let's let Rob recite his thing and say that it's.
Oh, fine, fine.
Susan, you're back up here on the
I'm
board?
back up here, I'm just
Mike, you're
wondering
back
if
down,
your
so I'll-
motion, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. Shouldn't your motion have been contingent on his shoreline permit?
Yes, it
It
was.
is,
yeah,
it
is,
is.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was. Okay, Rob, you want to read the second case for us, please?
All right, this is land use case Z 22-03-02. Peter and Terry Tabor are seeking a special exception to Enfield zoning ordinance as provided in Article 406.1, Section D, to construct a driveway that crosses wetlands areas. Owned by Peter and Terry Tabor, the subject property's address is 84 George Hill Road, tax map 9A, lot 6, and is 130.5 acres in size. It is located in rural residential agricultural, or what we call the R5 zoning district. Pathways Consulting LLC of Lebanon is representing the Tabors in this matter. And as I forwarded to you guys, I believe yesterday, the Tabors have respectfully asked for a continuance.
Did you send that out? I didn't see it.
Yeah, I sent an email.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
It's okay.
Can you just read your request?
Yep, it's from Scott Williams of Pathways. I think I also sent you Mr. Tabor's email. On behalf of the applicant, Peter Tabor, we would like to request a continuance for the zoning board of adjustment meeting scheduled for next Tuesday, March 8th at 7 PM to review the Tabor special exception application. If acceptable to the ZBA, we would like to postpone discussion of this application to the April meeting. We are in the process of addressing some issues related to wetland application with New Hampshire DES and would appreciate some additional time to resolve these issues before reviewing the application with the ZBA. This will also give us some time to provide additional information pertinent to the application if needed. Appreciate your consideration of this request. Sincerely, Scott Williams, Project Manager, Professional Engineer, Pathways Consulting LLC.
Thank you for reading. Yeah. Can you introduce yourselves back there, please?
I'm Dr. Tice.
Lee Davis, Conservation Commission.
That Ty just had me saying, who the heck is that back there?
Well, can I ask questions?
Let's, for 1 second.
Okay.
Celia, could you start out with what you were going to say? I'm
Yes,
sorry, Susan.
In our books on page 11-5 in the zoning board of adjustment in New Hampshire handbook, I'd like to point out, RSA 674-33, policy of the zoning board of adjustment. On number 6, it says, the zoning board of adjustment shall not require submission of an application for or receipt of a permit or permit from other state or federal governmental bodies prior to accepting a submission for its review or rendering its decision. So that it's under RSA 7433.
So you're saying we could hear this if we wanted to?
Yes.
Uh,
And the permit application really can be in looking, we should be looking at that now. Really, because they're saying it right here.
But it's our judgment. We make the decision if we want to do it or not. We don't have to
Well,
deny the request for continuation, or we do not have to accept it, the way I read what you just read.
well, not accepting a submission for its review or rendering its decision. But it says you can't, the zoning board of adjustment shall not require submission of an application for a receipt or for permit or permits from other state or federal bodies prior to accepting a submission for its review or rendering its decision.
So what are you saying, Celie? If they are the ones who decided they wanted to wait, is this relevant? Am I not understanding something?
It just means that we can't require they give us a permit from
But-
someone else.
Well,
Are we doing?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Rob, you had a comment?
I would say that what she's saying would just apply to what you guys just did,
Yes.
where you said, we'll give you the variance approval subject to your getting the shoreline permit.
For the special
That's
exception.
what I think that's what that means, so.
I think in this case, Doctor, thank you very much for that long explanation letter that you sent in. That helped me understand the situation a lot better and understand the relevant concerns. And thank you very much for the Conservation Commission for this great book that also helped me understand some of the things that are going on there. And I just felt as though, go ahead, Susan.
I think letting them have another month would give us a chance for a field trip. And I feel like I really need a field trip. Because this is really close to Bog Hill Road. But after reading and reading and reading, I'm not sure that what's in the way of coming in from Bog Hill Road instead of George's Hill Road. And then there's all these squiggles on the plan and I don't understand them.
That's fine, Susan, I hear you, but I think it's irrelevant right now as far as the
Well,
law.
I'm
the-
wanting
is
to
there- is
grant
there-
them their month.
Okay. Does anybody disagree with granting them the month?
No.
No.
Oh, sorry.
No, okay, I'm sorry, Mike. See, I think it's the, shall not is the thing
saying
is that,
because I'm reading the law. And it's,
I
I don't know,
so
but yeah,
before we, yes,
otherwise I would have.
May I ask a question?
sure.
All right, if you gave them, this, request of waiting until they got all the information from DES, if they met all those standards, could they, and you said, okay, we will wait, and then they got refused, could they come back and say to you, well, this is a hardship case? We really need, is that something you people would that go before your board? It would go, I just want to make sure that,
I'll just make a comment. If they can't get the permits, they can't do anything. Doesn't matter what we say or do or anything.
well, I know.
So if they can't get the permits, then it's moot.
The hardship standards apply to variance, not in the special exception.
Okay.
So it's, I think I don't need to make a motion on this. We just have to agree to a continuation.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna make sure we have 4 people agreeing, one who's concerned with the not meeting the level of law, and I hear his things, but I'm reading it differently than you are, so.
Well, you
so-
have to read the whole thing.
So the continuation is granted. So just, without a motion, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I went up there and tried to.
Now we can talk about it as much as we want. I
We
assume.
can talk about it, yeah,
Yeah.
because I went up there and tried to figure it.
Me
You
too.
We were probably chasing each other. I went up on Sunday. Yeah, and I was trying to figure out like what in the car with this, trying to figure out quite what was going on. And I kind of had the same question as you, Susan. Why aren't they going
From Bond
through
Road.
Ball Road?
So one of the things
Park on the side there.
they mentioned in that letter,
It's all wet.
if there's like a better way or something, they have to consider it.
Could you overlay
Maybe the
the,
state thinks
Oh,
it's-
the state thinks this
overlay
is a better-
the
That was,
the flood zones on the property? See, I do listen to you. sir.
Excuse me.
The flood zones and the tricky stuff.
Mrs. Davis here can answer those questions. I've been asked.
Could you move up here, please, sir?
Yeah, why don't-
I can't.
Unless you're afraid of,
I thought you guys wanted to continue this.
we are, but we just want to talk with you. We can.
I want to,
Is that legal?
What?
I thought we were continuing the,
Yeah,
We continue, continue.
We probably shouldn't discuss it.
okay.
I have to agree with these guys. Sorry about that. We're gonna have to hold off then until.
I
again.
well,
Can-
I
can
just
we have a
wanted to
field trip?
explain these quiggles on the map, so you
Okay.
could understand what was going on, because Mr. Finley came to the conservation, conservation commission and explained what those V-shaped things are. Part of that is for dredging, and part of it is for fill. And those V lines are all the way, are the things that he's going to dredge and fill along that 3,300 foot driveway. Now, he also pointed out that they had considered coming into the property site from Ball Road. But the problems of building bridges across wetlands stymied them from doing that. So the only access to the property is a right of way that they have gained between a house that was once owned by somebody at one of the hardware stores in Lebanon. I can't remember the name right now. And this is Stewart, Kate Stewart. So they have a 20-foot wide easement that goes there, and then they've got their 3,300 foot, a little over half a mile driveway that winds down through these areas. So if that helps you prepare for your on-site inspection, you'll have to come off of George Hill to get onto it, and the easement is clearly open. See where it is. There won't be any problems in finding it, walk down there.
Thank you very much for that.
Is it an old logging road?
I beg your pardon?
Is it an old logging
No,
road?
there was an old logging road that comes in across another piece of property that's owned by Hershey. It goes on through to Rob Maltz's property, who he just sold to a couple from Utah. But this is a separate right of way through this between the property. On the right-hand side of the property, on the left-hand side, and it goes right into the main property.
Oh,
I've seen the whole thing at 5 miles.
Thank you
an
for
hour.
that. I'm gonna stop the discussion now so we can move ahead. Is there any other new business? Thank you again. No business. Let's do the minutes. Susan, I'm gonna turn over the minutes to you.
Oh my God. So, you did such a nice job on those minutes. You're amazing. But I found a couple of little things that you might like to think about. On line 43, which is on the top, at the top of page 2. I would have said, instead of introducing, I would just say saying, because introducing doesn't really make sense there. And you said stated a lot of places. I would change
Said.
stated to said.
Said.
Um,
Anytime a person speaks,
They
they
said it.
said it.
I'm
They-
trying to use it more.
They didn't share it. They didn't, they just said
Thank
it.
you. Good night.
Thank you.
Well,
Um,
it's
Right.
one click. The next thing, the first place I see it is in line 74, where you put a colon after asked. And I-
Yeah, she
and-
does that
And
a
you
lot.
did that all the way through, so I took them all out. And line 91. This is pretty abstruse grammar. In line 91, Vice Chair Johnson asked if it would be possible to realign the building so that not so much instead of as much, because not is a negative.
That
And-
may have been the actual words that were used.
Excuse me?
Maybe
I
the
don't
actual
know.
word that
I
were
don't,
used.
I don't know that. I'm just, you asked me to go through the minutes.
yeah, well,
And
Yeah,
line
I know,
109, Mr. Hall has stated you got a cap on S.
what?
That's
Yeah, you
small.
don't usually do.
And
I
these are
usually,
just the
too
most
late.
minor details. I was just gonna hand her a copy and say, here, but then I thought, no, you gotta do it. On line 119, aren't AM and PM supposed to be capitalized? Yeah. Okay. And on line 121, you've got a question mark there. Mr. Hollis asked how gated access would be managed. I don't think there should be a question mark.
No, when there's
there.
when there's an indirect question, which is, you
Yeah.
know, they don't, you've done that in many places. Because you're
that
not
same-
asking a question, you're making a statement. You're saying he asked this.
Okay, I can look for those like throughout
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
You can take the colon off asked all the way through.
You have it
On
close to the
line
living.
what
155,
exactly? Well,
no apostrophe in Bergerons, it's not possessive. Line, that perhaps the Bergerons would be able to improve this, there should not be an apostrophe. And that is also in line 166, the same thing.
Susan, can I get in there?
Yeah,
I'd like you to strike everything from Mr. Dean stated on 165 through the end of 167. That's definitely not what I tried to say. And I couldn't figure out a decent way to reword it. And I don't think it has to be in there.
I thought the thing that you said important there, because you always have to remind me, is the
I
variance
totally-
goes with the land. It doesn't go with the people, it goes with the land.
You could say Mr. Dean said, Mr. Dean reminded the board that the variance goes with the land. And while the Bergerons would do good work, we don't know what a future owner would do. But I don't think that's really all that relevant.
It's what you said.
Do you want me to remove it or just make it that shorter sentence of reminding the board the variance goes to the land?
Just move it.
Just remove it, okay.
Moving along to line 176. Vice Chair Johnson's asked if we grant a variance, it doesn't, does it not change the zoning? You could say, Vice Chair Johnson asked if we grant a variance, does it not change the zoning?
That's,
Instead of it does not. But anyway.
where are you on that one? What line?
That was on line 176.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Vice Chair Johnson asked.
If
will it
we grant
change-
a variance, does it change the zoning?
Yes,
Okay, that works.
again, what the state is.
Okay.
Mr. Dean said that when a variance is granted, it is giving permission. You don't need to say stated.
I'll do the stated thing as an overall.
No, but you don't have to, the yes,
Mr. Dean said. No, comma. When a variance is granted, it is giving permission for the ordinance to be broken with special conditions.
period. However, the ordinance remains and the current zones on the property remain. Current zones or the current zoning?
And moving on to line 188, I would have said, Mr. Dean said he believed it was an issue for the planning board. Is to move the he believed to after the said. And I'm already page 6. There's something missing at line 233 and I have no clue what it is.
233.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, 232, 233, there's something that's not there. And I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, this second half of the condition is missing. Change from to CV from R1 if.
Yeah, what comes after if the? Sealy, you said it.
I would have to go back and look, but I can review the
I
recording.
don't
and
have it
find
in front
out
of
what
me.
it was.
And then, on line 237, it says, Ms. Alfieri stated she felt the property had no special conditions instead of not. I can
Yeah, probably
correct
no.
grammar and spelling, but I don't feel like I could correct what people said. That's their job.
No, I would guess that was just an error on my part that didn't get caught because it was a real word.
Yeah. Up to line 252.
Yep.
Shouldn't it say the zoning board?
Oh,
What line do you
Needs
want
to
now,
take
Susan?
into consideration the
252.
existing lot lines.
that's interesting.
And the property is now being used for a commercial purpose.
Zoning needs, zoning cannot need.
So that's why I said the zoning,
Or the zoning must take
The
take the
zoning
existing
board.
lot lines into
Oh.
consideration.
shouldn't it be zoning board?
No.
It's the zoning. We were talking about the fact is that it divides this lot in half. And that the zoning should take into consideration the lot lines.
Well, I would take out the in that case.
The planning board should take into consideration existing lot lines when drawing zoning district boundaries.
Yeah, that was the issue we were
We're
talking
putting in
about.
the planning board should be replaced.
Planning board should take into consideration the existing lot lines. Correct. When drawing the boundaries of districts.
And that's it.
Commercial
I don't
districts.
see anything else. Wow. What a lot of work. you
All in
did, Ms.
favor of
Baker.
approving
That
the-
is just-
I gotta go back.
Oh.
Yeah, I have quite a,
No, but that's all
Okay.
I had.
Mike first and then back over to Madeline, okay?
no, I don't, I've written this down, that there's stuff that was not clear, run-on sentences and things like that. I don't know if we just want to go into it or not. And I didn't get to the second half
Well,
of it.
after all the saids, there probably should be comma quotation marks, but oh my God. So I just decided to leave it the way it was.
Yeah,
As long as it doesn't injure the meaning of the.
Correct. And this is better than any set of minutes that has ever come out of any organization within the town of Enfield.
Yes.
I mean, by far the best, so it's,
Okay.
Who was it?
Line
David
79.
Frank, I was saying, oh,
I
God,
remember the old one.
David Frank was saying something about it, and I said, well, you got 3 English teachers on the zoning board. And then he says, would you correct stuff for us? And I said, sure, and he sent me something,
He pointed out that.
and I corrected it.
And then on line 80, after boundaries, would not change the zoning boundary, full stop.
Okay.
Strike everything after that. Line 80.
After we vote on this one here, I gotta go back. I have the findings of facts on the first one. I just want to read them off so that she has findings of facts at first.
Okay.
Any other comments on the minutes? Is there here a motion to approve the minutes?
Wait,
So
Madeline.
moved.
No, I don't think that we need to go through these.
Who made the motion?
So
I'll
moved.
make a
Okay,
motion.
second, okay. Susan and Brian, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Saying I don't have.
I think.
Celia abstains, okay?
what's-
Can I just read the
what I
findings
want
of
is
facts?
a-
I'm sorry.
This from tonight?
Yeah, for tonight for the first one. And these were all stated, I just didn't summarize, so I apologize for that.
Don't adjourn yet,
We're not. What?
because
Please
this
wait,
is your
please wait.
last meeting. is-
Please wait.
Okay.
That's the first time I've yelled.
Do you have a hearing aid, Tim?
Okay, you ready? Lot is now vacant after our old house has been condemned. And an in-ground oil tank has been removed, was removed. It's a small lot. New house is more conforming to setbacks. The proposal is consistent with the neighborhood, whose value of surrounding properties. It could build on the existing footprint. Those are the findings of fact that I have. Anybody disagree with anything I said? Okay. That's it. Any other business before we adjourn? Susan?
Yes, this is your last meeting as chair, and somebody said you're moving to Hawaii.
I am not moving to Hawaii.
And I would like the minutes to say thank you to Ed McLaughlin for leading
Yeah.
good meetings and keeping things moving along. What you've done is much appreciated.
I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's final words for all of you that are here are going to be the board next year or next week or next month. I think the hardest thing that I have found in being the board is understanding the history of what has gone on in the zoning over the years, good and bad. You know, and it's hard to try and put it all together and understand that this gray area that we're in, and I've used the term all along, and it's just something that's old, is that we're the one between, that makes that tries to help the decision between, they call it state rights, but they also call it police rights versus the owner's property rights. It's easy to write a document that says, this is the rule, and a property owner says, well, this is what it should be. And how do we come up with something that works in the middle? You know, without breaking the rule or breaking the law, but understanding that people have a right to their property ownership.
That is their very purpose.
So that's what we're here for. It's always been hard to try and keep those balance in mind as we're listening to what's going on and trying to understand both sides of it. So I'd like to thank you all for your forbearance for me and understanding as I grew and try to understand this role. And I wish you the best. I have volunteered to be an alternate. So if you guys take me up on that, then at your next meeting, it's up to you to decide on that. So I would serve as an alternate, but I wish you all the best of luck. And thank you very much. So,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
motion to adjourn?
I was hoping you'd do that, be the alternate.
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan.
It
All
doesn't
in
take
favor?
a second, just
I
everybody
know it
says
does.
yes.
It just
No,
really
Okay, bye.
does. Okay, done. Actually, I'm happy that I don't have to participate in this 130-acre one, I'll tell you that.
Actually, you might have to. So I will find out next week if my visa went through. If that's true, I will not be around in April. I will email you.
Where are you headed?
I'm going to Tokyo.
Once it's not Ukraine.
No,